Good evening. Welcome to class. This is Gethin Christine Morris. Very happy and honored as always to guide you through practice. Tonight we are focused on trauma-informed vagal toning asana sequence. And essentially that is a little bit of a slower sequence using certain poses or asanas to really stimulate the vagus nerve. And we'll talk about that a little bit and get right into it. A little mantra here. Okay, essentially, I think a couple videos back, I reversed my nervous systems when I was thinking of, well, you know how that goes. But the parasympathetic nervous system is that nervous system for the rest and digest. And when we are really able to tune into the PNS, then we are able to allow that to activate properly and also to release acetylcholine, which is a soothing, calming hormone. And the vagus nerve is about 80% of the parasympathetic nervous system. And it runs up and along, I should stop about here, but up and along the plexuses of the chakras, all the way up through and beyond the brachial plexus that goes up into the throat. So down into the perineal, and all the way up through each of those plexuses, which are alongside the chakras. And that is a really important nerve to focus on, especially trauma-informed sequences. We want that to activate because we're straying away from going and dropping into our sympathetic nervous system, which is that fight, flight, freeze, tend, and befriend nervous system. And that is definitely something that kicks in when we experience trauma. And so as we continuously work with the parasympathetic nervous system, the calming side, then we can really come from our center, from that place, that calm place, no matter what situation arises. And that really, I think, is the goal. And for people who have experienced trauma, it's a little harder, to stray away from that initial reaction. And that's why yoga is so helpful, amongst so many other reasons, but that is really a very healing aspect of trauma-informed yoga, or yoga in general, when we focus on our breath and we focus on calming down. All right. And I am noticing, and I am sorry about that, I'm trying to fix that. So because I have braces, yay, there's a lot of saliva happening. So when I'm talking, the microphone really picks up this. It almost sounds like a smack. I'm not smacking, I promise, but it's just like that sound where I'm kind of trying not to drool everywhere. I will be very aware of that noise because when I was listening back, it was a little distracting, and I apologize. Okay, so you come into any kind of seated pose for the beginning, because we're going to be in a seated sequence before we move up. And you can be in easy pose, you can be in half lotus, full lotus, a toe squat like I was just doing. You can have blocks anywhere, blankets. Please feel free to always have those nearby. Blankets, pillow, bolster. Oh, and particularly for this class, we will be using a strap for one of the poses. You can use a scarf, or I had a teacher recommend a dog leash one time, which I thought was pretty creative. And so anything that you can kind of bind around, ultimately it'll be going around your lower legs, yeah, just have that nearby, handy. Wonderful. So I'm very happy and excited that you're here. Thank you so much again for joining me. And we're going to start off class. I'm offering up this intention as it translates to disentangle me from binding forces of my foes. Now, it is a longer mantra, so I'm sure there's definitely more in-depth translation than that. But I thought that was a nice, short, brief sankalpa to offer up for class. Disentangle me from binding forces of my foes. And this really does enhance the healing effects of medicines or meditations. And it is to be sung when sick or fighting the good fight, which is really working hard to keep our balance in our center. And I'm going to just go ahead and sing it twice through. Let the words wash over you. And as you hear the sounds, just drop in, tune in. Feel free to close your eyes all the way, a half sort of soft focus or open completely, and really start to lengthen the inhalations and exhalations in and out of the nose, and really wanting to tune into you. Maybe your sankalpa is different, and that's beautiful. We want to always honor where we are every time we hit the mat and every moment after. This is the Mahamrit Yonjaya mantra. Mahamrit Yonjaya mantra. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityor Mukshiyamam Vritatta. Aum Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityor Mukshiyamam Vritatta. Ooh, that shifted things. Wonderful. Let's begin. And I have like a little smaller pillow. It's a soccer ball, but feel free to use a block underneath you, or a pillow or a bolster or blanket. And I'm really placing it underneath my sacrum to give me just a little bit of lift. And we are going to cross opposite legs that you normally would, and go ahead and have your palms on the inside of your knee. And on the inhale, we're going to do a seated cow, shining the heart forward, looking up. Deep long inhale, exhale, seated cat, rounding the spine and curling the chin. And as we move through several of these to start our class, I want you to kick in your Ujjayi breath, constrict the back of the throat, and hear the oceans coming, ocean waves coming right out of your breath. think about also moving with your breath. Okay, moving in and moving all the way up to the peak of it at the very last sips of your inhale, and releasing all the way as much as you can on your exhale. Keep going through your Upavishya Bitilasana. And I will say that anytime you feel uncomfortable, please stop and readjust in whatever way you need to. Also, if you feel like stopping the class entirely, feel free to do that. And you can always follow just the breathing and the cues and do somatic yoga by really just visualizing what we're doing with the body with the cues. And that is a really good practice in case you're not really feeling whatever you're feeling as far as having the experience of being uncomfortable in your body doing the poses. Always respect and honor that. This is about 50-minute at this point, I'm sure, flow with slow trauma-informed poses to tone the vagus nerve. I know I mentioned that before, but as we're going through the cat-cow, I just want to make sure that everyone is also on the same page. And now we're going to stop and we're going to do some torso circles seated. And you can start in any direction that you would like. Really, you're moving from the sacrum, you're allowing the weight to shift from one leg to the other as you bring your torso forward, back to the side, forward to the side, and back. And allowing your breath to open up even more, creating space in the vertebra behind your breathing. And other way, whichever opposite way is for you. Wonderful. And coming to center, noticing anything that you might be feeling. And there it is. So just going to try not to also bring attention to it. Go ahead and lower your right arm down and inhale, lift your, bring your right arm down. Yeah, lifting your left arm all the way up for a lateral stretch. For a side bend, Sukhasana. And go ahead and do it one more time. And you can bend that right elbow a little bit to get a deeper stretch if that feels nice. And feel free to play with the gaze up or down. As you breathe, focus on the expansion in the outer portion of the ribs on the left side. Last big inhale. Exhale, releasing back up to center, setting the left hand down on the mat. And go ahead, deep breath in, lifting up the right arm for Sukhasana on the other side. Lowering, and go ahead, inhale. All the way up, bringing the arm nice and straight and long as you're bending the left elbow to the inside and allowing your right lateral part of your torso to really open up. Last inhale and exhale. And exhale, flip the palm up, reaching up overhead and coming to center, seeing if you notice anything here. Wonderful. Go ahead and have the legs come out wide. We're going to do Upavista Konasana. And you can, if you've got a blanket or a bolster nearby, please go ahead and have that there ready for your chest and your belly. And if you have a block, you can use it for your head, for your forehead. So again, feel free to keep the height on the sacrum. Actually, I'll go ahead and demonstrate that. And have some space, bringing the earth a little bit closer to you. And wherever you are at, if your legs are bent and your feet are flat, you can do a forward fold while hugging a bolster. That would feel very nice. And bringing your elbows to the inside of your thighs and allowing that to really pull yourself forward. Little increments at a time, opening up. And if your legs are flat, then go ahead and allow your body to feel supported and comforted. And you can use 2 blocks if you want for your head, or 1. Relaxing the arms and just allowing deep breaths as you massage your organs against the bolster on the deep inhalations. And exhale. Really releasing the head. Last inhale and exhale. Next inhale, place the palms on the mat and slowly roll up. And go ahead and bring your left foot to the inside of your right thigh. And if you'd like, you can use a block underneath that knee. We're going to do a side straddle. And if you also want to move your bolster a little bit to the inside of your right leg, that way you have some more support options as we go into another nice open side bend for Parshvopavisa Konasana. And then rolling your shoulder outward a little bit to shine the heart forward. Feeling that broadening in the chest. Still want to focus on big belly breaths. Good. One more big round of inhales and exhales. Next inhale, maybe sink a little deeper. And then flip the palm over. Exhale, bringing yourself back on up. Wonderful. And then switching out the props if you're using them. Bringing the right leg to the inside of the left thigh. You can have that knee be supported if you want. You can also have the bolster supporting the entire leg. So that is also an option. I'm just going to go ahead and demonstrate that. Deep breath in. Raising that right arm up to the sky. Go ahead and do a few organic movements. I like to roll the shoulder in and out a little bit. And then coming to stillness with that right shoulder stacked over the left as we're opening up the chest. And definitely that right side body. Deep lateral stretch here. Big belly breaths. Good. All right, on your next inhale, flip the palm over and allow your body to raise up to center. Very good. Moving the props to the side of the mat. Coming into a neutral tabletop. We're going to go ahead and do on the knees, tabletop, cat-cow. If you'd like some support for the knees, feel free to fold a blanket once underneath those knees. Stacking the hips over the knees, engaging that low core, stacking the shoulders over the wrists. Really want a very good formation here. Long neutral neck. On your inhale, lower the belly and raise the chest. Look up for cow. Exhale, round the sacrum, round the spine, all the way down for cat. One more time. Go ahead and curl the toes under. Walk the hands up a couple more inches. And if you go into a plank pose or something there close to it, that is a good formation to start to send your hips back for downward dog. I like to move and adjust. If I'm, it's a first down dog, go ahead and pedal it out. But depending on how I'm feeling, I might work up to that alignment, but that is a good benchmark for later. With the intention of having the heels energetically connect with the earth. And when you're ready, finding that stillness, really letting the head hang, engaging that low core, and allowing yourself to be lifted up through the wrists and the shoulders. No collapsing here. Shining your heart a little closer to the earth with every exhale. Deep inhale. Making space in those shoulders. Exhale, shine the heart close to the earth. Inhale, gaze to the top of the mat, just coming straight back on your knees for another tabletop. Going through cat-cow a couple more times. And exhale into cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale. Really squeeze it out. Inhale. Neutral tabletop. Go ahead and engage that low core to protect the low back always. Wonderful. And we're going to do a little bit of thread the needle. So I like to place that balancing hand a little bit more centered. So I don't know if you can really see. The left hand will move a little bit more center. Reach up with the right arm, and then it's the needle, so you're going to thread it through. You have the back of your hand on the mat as you bend that left elbow and lower down. This is a good spot for props, I will tell you. So little pillows, big pillows, if you need your shoulders supported or your head, make sure they're both at even length, clearly. And then your left arm can really do what feels best. It can extend straight out. It can come and be bent and pushing against the earth to really find more of that upper torso twist. Or you can bind it behind your low back. Releasing the head, no like straining in the head. If you have a bind or extended arm, release it, find right underneath your shoulder, gently press up. Inhale, reach one more time. Exhale, lower it to the mat, finding your center and balance. If you have a prop that you used for the last one, use it again. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, the right arm down to the mat. And try some variations if you want, or just keep it there. Noticing any differences in sensations between the sides and letting it go. No straining in the head. Next, inhale, place your palm to the mat, begin to press up, reaching all the way up. And exhale, bringing the left hand down, coming back into that tabletop. And go ahead and take some deep hip circles here. Wonderful. Curling the toes under, lifting those legs up off the mat, coming into down dog again. And noticing any differences with the shoulder openness. Inhale, lift the right leg up high, flexing the toes to the face, and then bending it all the way through, gently placing it in between the hands, and lowering that back left knee all the way down. And if you have the blanket as support for the knee, go ahead and use that here as well. Coming up for low lunge, Anjaneyasana. And bring your hands together, your palms, and flip them down so that basically the base of your palms is kind of cradling the base of your skull. And that gives a nice tricep stretch as well. as you are really opening up. This is a great psoas stretch, and it's also very nice for the hip flexor. Next, inhale, extend the arms up, and then go ahead, lower them down, curl the toes, lift the back leg, and then swoop the right leg back to meet the left for down dog. Feeling the sensations in the left leg that we really opened up there. Next, inhale, lift the left leg high, flexing the toes to the face, and then curling it into your stomach so you can gently place it in between the two hands. Lowering the right leg. Inhale, Anjaneyasana. Bringing the palms together, cradling the base of the head for a nice, it is supportive too for the head. It's really good. Always coming back to your Ujjayi breath. Last inhale, bringing it up and down, and go ahead and meet your left leg back to the right for downward dog, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Gaze up at the top of your mat. On an inhale, slowly walk your feet to meet your hands, and coming into a wide, well, kind of wide-legged, but really where your ankles and your knees and your hips are, maybe your feet a little bit wider than your hips, just not all the way out to the edges of your mat. And we're going to come into dangling pose where your thighs are nice and bent and you're releasing all of it in your upper back, your shoulders, your head. You can have your hands like cradled in your elbow nooks. What's happening? Hold on 1 second. Don't know. Oh, okay, good. All right, we're in dangling pose. Baddha Hasta Uttanasana. All right, inhale, coming up into halfway lift. You can keep the knees bent if you would like to. You can have them, like with a micro bend is always good, so you don't overextend, hyperextend your knees. Engage the core, squeezing the shoulder blades back behind you. Exhale, forward fold. One more time. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Now we're going to grab that strap. So go ahead and reach for the strap. What we're going to do here is make a small loop enough where both of your feet can fit through, but it's going to be right underneath your knees, and tighten it really well. So if you have a scarf, you know, essentially you want to make a connection where you want the sensation of trying to put it open or open up the strap. Yeah, you really want to be using your force, you know, working the adductors and the hips and like trying to break that strap, you know. And so go ahead and find that place around the shins, under the knees, and we're going to come up for Tadasana. You can curl your hands inward if you'd like. And then exhale, shining the palms forward. And you're focusing on the bottom halves of your feet, really working. Oh, yeah. For me, it like really activates the glutes and the hamstrings. Yeah, that's good. This is good. Deep breath in. Lengthening, finding that length and height in the crown, reaching forward to the sky. And inhale, bring your hands to heart center for Samastihiti. Okay, and then come on down for forward fold. Leave the strap here for a minute. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. All right, go ahead and loosen the strap. Bring it out from your feet. And we're going to come into a wide-legged stance here. Okay, let's start with the feet. Toes are facing outward, really grounding down through all four corners of the feet, bending deep into the knees. You want to make sure that they're not like super over the toes, just nice and stacked over the ankles. Goddess pose, horse, all sorts of, wow, finding your balance. And then go ahead and bring your hands to the inside of the legs and cross your shoulders. Good. And then reaching up for a 5-pointed star, maybe shaking out in the hips a little. Okay, great. Facing the front of your mat, so turn to the right, have your right leg facing forward, bending into that front knee, making sure it's right over the ankle. And then your toes are facing out about 45 degrees or so for a nice warrior one stance. Lot of strength, lot of activation in the back leg, really pressing down into all four corners, engaging the kneecap, the glutes, engaging the core. Again, this is a great psoas stretch. This is really wonderful for building up strength in the core, in your balance, in all four limbs. All right, flip the left hand so the palms down. Both palms down for warrior two. Nothing changes in the legs, unless you needed to, of course. You can always adjust the width of your stance. You can always adjust. Continuing the activation in the back leg, and lots of a lot of activity going through the arms. Relaxing and lowering the shoulders. They're away from the ears. Wonderful. Doing so good. All right, go ahead, release the arms, and you're going to meet your left and your right foot. And coming back on down for forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And then widen the legs again. We're going to come into a small wide-legged dangling pose. Pressing the torso against your thighs. You can sway a little. And if you did cross the arms and have your hands tucked, do opposite sides this time. You can also just release them dangling onto the mat. Really, really deep belly breaths here, and allow the thighs to massage all of the organs on the inside. Deep bend, and go ahead. Oh, let's grab that strap one more time. Careful to place both feet in, making it nice and tight so that you can engage those adductors and really working the energy out. Deep inhale. Tadasana, mountain pose. Working that core. You can feel the activation in the legs and the glutes. And then you're really working on straightening the arms as much as possible. And then exhale, you can open up to cactus arms. And then shine the palms forward, really having all of this energy coming up through the back of the head. You can even visualize the vagus nerve going all the way from the lowest parts of our torso area, of our root area, going all the way up, stimulating and innervating organs, muscles, nerves, all the way up and through. Bringing the hands to heart center. Whenever you do think about it, come back to your Sankalpa. Great. Go ahead, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Go ahead and loosen the strap. Wonderful. Bring the left, bring the left leg forward, the right leg back. We can do another horse when we're done with the warriors. All right, lots of activation in the back leg. And then inhale, bringing the arms straight up for warrior one. And if it helps to feel that the knee is right over the ankle, slide your hands on the sides of your shin and feel the alignment. Engaging that low core. Feeling all four corners of the feet. Lots of activity in that kneecap. You want to feel the quadricep working. If at any time it's too much with your arms up, go ahead and bring them to heart center. Next, inhale, flip the palms down, coming into warrior two. Really squeezing the elbows so you can get that nice activation in the triceps. And again, you can always look down and check for your alignment. Inhale, coming into five-pointed star. Toes are pointed out. And exhale deep into goddess pose. You can bring your hands to the inside of your thighs and go ahead and alternate your shoulders, crossing one over the other. Good, checking. Oh, good. Okay, good, wonderful. And from horse, we're going to work our way down to Malasana, garland pose. So bringing your feet a little bit more in. Still your toes are pointed out and your heels are down on the ground. You can use, just like thinking, a blanket underneath the arches of your feet, if that helps. And essentially you're going to have your triceps, the inside of your knees. So you can kind of see if I turn to the side too, some alignment stuff. You want to aim for having a straight back. And if you can, place your hands underneath your heels. Wonderful. On your next exhale, lift your heels up and your hands off. Go ahead and straighten it out, wiggle it out a little bit, and come to a seated pose or a seated position so you can come into staff pose. Staff pose for my cheerleading days was pike. And so very straight legs, feet are flexed, back is very straight. For those who need additional support, go ahead and wiggle a block underneath your sacrum or well underneath your buttocks. And if your knees are bent, totally fine. You're working on squeezing the shoulder blades back behind you, kind of like halfway lift, lengthening the neck. And when you come forward, just very subtle movement because you want to keep the spine straight. And feel free to use as much support as possible, even a bolster underneath the knees. Now, at first, we're going to have our arms fully extended. Kneecaps are engaged, so your heels might lift up. And then lower the heels. Engage that low core. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, just slightly forward, keeping the back straight. Maybe you don't even move. You're just energetically feeling forward. Inhale up. Exhale, forward. Inhale. Exhale. And then when you feel like that's as far as you can go, wherever you're at, stay there. Come back to your sankalpa. I offered a very simple statement. Disentangle me from binding forces of my foes. Foes don't have to be outward enemies. Very much are they always inward. Anger, fear, jealousy, greed. So many little things that are big things that maybe we don't think much of. Exhale, release the arms. That was very good. Release the spine. Very good. Coming into a seated forward fold. So, leave the legs. And then round down. Round the spine down. Release. Paschimottanasana. You can use a bolster here. Again, feeling that extra comfort, that extra support. The longer you're in a pose, the deeper the expression can be. There's an opportunity. All right, next inhale, slowly roll on up. Very good. And we're going to come right on back for a constructive rest pose. So roll down nice and slow, bringing your feet to the earth, bending the knees, crossing. I'll do left arm and then the right. So crossing the right over the left. Eyes can be open. All right. Go ahead, release the arms down to the mat. We're going to come up into bridge. Now, if you've got a block nearby, when you raise your hips, you can come into a supported bridge pose, bringing the block to the low or the middle height, right underneath your sacrum. That is an option. So to come into bridge, you're going to make sure all four corners are planted firmly down. Maybe you roll your shoulder blades underneath. Palms can be up or down. I was questioning that because it's really what if you're rolling the shoulder blades in, go ahead and have the palms up and then raise the hips one vertebra at a time. Keeping the chin tucked, no effort in the neck. If you want, you can bring that block underneath the sacrum and allow your spine to be supported to find a little bit more release. Next inhale, reaching up to the sky. Exhale, lowering down slowly thoracic, all the way down lumbar, all the way down sacral. Oh, very good. You can bring your heels and toes to touch if you feel comfortable doing so. Or you can just keep your knees perpendicular to each other. Perpendicular. What's the word I'm looking for? These are the things about being in person that's so helpful. When you fumble on words, there's someone there to help you pick it up and keep going. I'm going to think of it parallel. They're parallel to each other. Or if you are comfortable and you'd like to use some blocks underneath your thighs, go ahead and come into a more open pose. All right. And bringing your knees to your chest, give them a nice little squeeze. Maybe a rock to the left and to the right. Hands underneath the knees. You're going to kind of rock and roll a little bit. Nice little spine massage. Coming up into seated. Take a sip of water. Yeah. So, because I was talking and yammering too much at the beginning of class, right now we would be doing about 10 minutes of Shavasana. So after your water, you can come laying back down. If you've got an eye pillow, eye pillow, go ahead and place that over your eyes, letting your feet fall open and letting the last hour really sink in. Thank you so much for being here today. This has done a lot of energetic work, and that acetylcholine has definitely been released, that calming hormone. And we want you to take that with you throughout your day, remembering that when stress arises, to drop into our center, into our heart, into our belly, and taking deep breaths. That will help activate your vagus nerve. That will help turn your parasympathetic nervous system online, and it will help to just calm and de-escalate that sympathetic nervous system that's ready to go. And with time, you won't even have to think about it. It'll just happen. I will go ahead and leave you with the Mahamrityunjaya mantra. Last year I did it quite a bit, and usually when I do mantras over and over, I have it memorized. This one, it's been a few months, so this is nice to bring it back into the prefrontal cortex. All right, thank you again. Go ahead, take a deep breath, release the Ujjayi breath if you haven't already done so, and enjoy the sounds, enjoy the power of the vibrations. Aum Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityor Mukshya Mamritata. The light in me sees, knows, and honors the light in each and every one of you. Namaste. Oh.